Welcome to the Heart and Mind of Business. We are super excited to share about pre-planning and moving forward. Are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to leap forward into your business and what you're doing? If you are, you're in the right place. We look forward to sharing our tips and insights with you. See you in a moment. We are super excited to think about planning and moving forward, and we've got two wonderful perspectives. Clara, you are super good on the planning.
Yes, thank you. It's one of the things that I love the most. Actually, I'm a lover of planning. How about you?
Well, probably used to be a little more, but then with all the training and the spiritual psychology and all that type of thing, it's very much more about inspiration, going with the flow,
Mhm.
following that piece. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. So for those that really like planning, that like that control, that like to know the bits in the diary and where we're going, how do you plan?
So I'm a very strategic and intentional planner, of course. My and actually my husband is as well, which works out nicely in our house. So we plan twice a year. We do our major planning for the year every December. So the end of the year, we always take the last 2 weeks of the year off and we work on our plan for the next year. When we very first got married, we're a blended family, so we had um, 10, 11, 9, 10, and 11-year old, right? So we would go for long walks to get out of the house, right? And that is when we just like from the very get-go, we started planning together. It's like, what do we want it to look like in 5 years? What do we want it to look like in 3 years? What about 1 year from now? Where do we want to be? What do we want to accomplish? And that turned into us just being regular planners, and it's served us very well. And over the years, we've developed a system that works for us. And this is what we do. In December, we take those 2 weeks and we look forward to the next year. We do talk about 3 years and 5 years still, but in truth, things change, right? Goals change, and that's okay, right? We grow as people and change as people. Businesses come and go, at least in our world. We do different things, we find different passions. So we'll mostly focus on the coming year. So we're getting ready to do that for this year because we're coming up on the end of the year. We'll look at the end of next year when we sit down to plan, what do we want to have accomplished? And this is personal goals in our home, spiritual goals for us as a couple, family goals, and business goals. We're very business minded, so that tends to be a bulk of it. We try to be a little balanced in that. So we will look at all of those pieces and we will write them down. I tend to physically write them because there's a brain pen connection that happens. And then I also type them up on a goal list kind of after the fact. And then we take it a step further and we actually create a vision board. And this is just a poster board. I was going to bring one today and I didn't. Poster board that goes on the wall. And then we visually represent each of our goals in picture form. Sometimes that's Googling something, and then printing it out, cutting it out, putting on there. Sometimes it's magazines, wherever we find a picture that represents that goal. And then we build our vision board and we put it on the wall so that every time we pass it in our home office, every time we pass it, even if we don't look at it, our brain is still seeing it, right? So it's just an intentional process to get us where we want to go. And then, of course, halfway through the year, next year, summer-ish, we will revisit our goals and say, okay, if we were going to have 100 new customers by the end of this year, are we at 50? If we're not, why are we not? So measure, monitor, and adjust. That's mid-year. End of year is setting new expectations for the coming year. So we are quite intentional about it, and it has served us well. Not everyone is as comfortable with that kind of a strategy, and I know you do something a little bit different. So tell us about your process.
Well, there are some similarities. I have a vision board too. And I think that's really important, having the visual representation. And actually, the book that I'm writing at the moment is all about a method for blending the left and right hand spheres, I
Mhm.
guess, if you like, of our brain, the logical and the creative sides, to create something that you can use on a vision board that will help you to feel, raise your belief, shift from where you are now to achieving that.
Mhm.
So that's kind of actually what I'm writing at the moment. So I do have a vision board, but a lot of the things that you learn when doing things like spiritual psychology is, and bearing in mind I've got quite a corporate background, I've done lots of logical stuff in the past, that for me, being really logical meant that I could miss out on the inspiration, on the opportunities as they came
Mhm.
along. So I made a decision and a choice to say, okay, I'm going to just visualize and meditate on what it is that I feel, what it is I want. I'll be open to getting an idea of what I want rather than forcing it, but allowing it. What would be the next step? What would be the right thing for me to do? What would make me feel most fulfilled? What needs do I want met? Do I want a greater experience of creatively expressing myself? Do I want more relationships with other people? That could be building a separate tribe, or it could be having a new group or doing something in that way, or it could be a physical environment. Do I want to do something out and about? Do I want to run a retreat? Do I want to do this? So thinking about, where do I want my needs to be met? But instead of logically thinking about it, it's almost like allowing that higher self of part of me, that wiser bit, if you like, to me to tap into that inner knowing. What feels like the right next step for me at this moment? So instead of forcing it, I'm allowing it, which is kind of the other flow. But then once I've got an idea, actually it feels really nourishing for me to run a retreat or to run a new group on this topic, because this is a topic that I know a bit about, but I want to learn some more. And sometimes we learn by teaching. So I really want to teach this topic. That feels so good for me. How can I do it? What is it I want to? Why do I want to do it? So you're coming back to Simon Sinek's stuff, I guess. Start with the
Right.
why.
Yeah. Start with your
Yeah,
why.
yeah, and then the how and the what as well. And then I might put on my vision board, okay, this is me, this symbolizes me, how I feel. What words do I use? How do I
Mhm.
support that intention? Not just by having the vision board, but how do I cultivate that mindset to support that journey all the time? So it's moving from wanting it to a place of knowing that it's going to show up for you. And how do you do that? So the language we use is really important. The mental imagery and using our imagination and cultivating that is really important. And you said, seeing it all the time and having it there
Mhm.
where that's one of the ways that you can do that. There are other ways too, but actually it's feeling that flexibility and moving towards something and then thinking, do you know what? This group doesn't feel quite what I want. I'm going to finish this round of working with this group, and then I'm not
Mhm.
going to do that anymore. I'm going to find another avenue to express what I need, what I'd like in a different form. So just a little more fluid.
Mm. So, and really, and I talked about that a little bit. So it's kind of the same thing, that goals change,
They
right? Or
do.
intentions
Yeah.
change, right?
Yeah.
So you might head down a path and say, I'm going to do X. And then as you head down that path, say, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or it isn't fulfilling,
Yeah.
or so that a little more fluid. You're calling it fluid. I'm saying goals change, right? But it's
Yeah.
the same idea, right? So
Yeah.
I love that you focus on how am I feeling about it. So you lean a little more on intuition about things and
Yes.
let that guide you versus we're very focused on our on the goals that we've set, but we do like to allow some flexibility for goals to change. I think
Mm,
that's why we do the measure, monitor, adjust in the middle of the year. It's like,
mm,
you know what? some things have changed, and it's okay. If
Mm.
you don't give yourself permission for that, it can be um, depressing almost, right?
Yeah.
When you don't meet a goal, you can beat yourself up. Like,
Oh,
oh my gosh,
absolutely. Yeah.
I failed, or whatever beat yourself up words you like to use, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think blending those two is the perfect answer. Blending our two styles is the perfect
Yeah.
answer, right?
And like, yeah, and things change all the time, but
Mm,
it's for me, it's moving from ahead and intellectually doing something when I know I've set goals in the past that have been to meet other people's expectations.
mm,
They've been to do things because I feel like I can do it rather than because I really want to.
mm,
So I move it from a head to a heart, and
mm.
then what is right for me, for my learning.
So
Um,
just because you can do it
doesn't
doesn't
mean you
mean you
should.
should.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay, so we are probably going a little longer than normal today, but we have some exciting news, don't we?
We do. So, if you're watching this, you're interested as a new entrepreneur, maybe you already have a business, maybe you are setting up, maybe you're doing what I've done before, move from the corporate setting into having your own business. And it is a fantastic journey. It is exciting. You can create freedom, but it also comes with its own elements of risks and having to take on new knowledge as well. There was a real learning curve when I made that transition, but I love it. But the things that really help me are the things that Clara and I explain and share in our masterclass series. We go through a whole 7.5 hours worth of
Mhm.
information, right from doing what feels right to you, to creating, to business, all the processes or the strategies, right up to when you want to even think about taking on employees. So
Yep.
we have the wonderful whistle stop tour of everything you need to know to get started. How can they find out more, Clara?
So www.thenewbusinessbuilders.com. Hop on over there. It's going to give you a breakdown of what you're going to learn. Sign up, jump into the masterclass, and just dive in and learn all that you need to know to get started on your new business journey. And we are so excited to have so many of you already joining us. So we look forward to meeting you on the inside of the masterclass series.
Yeah, and we're having some great feedback because we actually go through this together, because we have different disciplines. You're helping me and I'm helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
actually, we're sharing all that in the class. And I know people are really loving that. So we
Yep.
would love you to be part of our masterclass series too, because if other people are getting lots out of it, we know you will too.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay, I guess that's about it for today. We're coming into the holiday season, so we don't want to drag on too long here. We want to just celebrate, but we will see you again soon on the Heart and Mind of Business. And you guys take care. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Before you leave, hop below, leave us a comment, like, and hit the notification so you know when we're going to go live again, which of course is every Wednesday. Come back and see us. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.
Have a good day.